Hello, this is Tom Galindo for the blog You've Probably Never Heard of Them. I'm here today with someone we have heard of, former Weezer member, Emmy the Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
How was the UK tour?
UK tour was really fun, really fun. We took a couple of bands with us who, one of them used to be my flatmate, O Carmina, and the other one is a band called Dems, who I admire very, very much. Also happens to contain my cousin. So it was kind of amazing. It was like being on holiday with your family and friends. So it was a caravan holiday that I never had as a kid.
Because you have a different sound this time, did you do anything different for this tour, such as different venues?
No, the venues were not all the same, but similar types. We've done two of them before, and one of them is a new London venue that's amazing, called Oslo. But the preparation for it was so different. I mean, it was serious pre-production in a kind of very technical sense. I kept thinking about that Spider-Man musical. So I kept having all those problems and being like, I really get how those people feel now. Should reach out to them.
I know you're always reading something, so what are you reading right now?
I'm reading the collected stories of Laurie Moore. She's a short story writer mainly. She's written some novels as well. I guess she started writing in the 80s, got, solidly grew. She's kind of thought of as one of the sharpest and funniest writers of, the last 30 years in American literature. My friend told me to read one of her stories, and this was about 4 weeks ago, and I have rinsed. I mean, I'm quite a binger. I have read, I think, one of her novels, two of her short story collections, and I've listened to every podcast that she's ever appeared on, to the point where I feel like I need to start reading something else right now, because I just don't know what I'm going to do when I'm finished with all of it. I'm getting to the point as well where I'm actually not even liking it anymore because I've read it, so I'm like, oh yeah, one of these characters again. Like the brother you didn't do enough for, yeah, you do that a lot. It's the point I can't stop.
Have you read any other good books recently?
Well, Michael, who's in my band, Michael Evans, she is currently reading Wolf because Wolf the TV program, started when we were touring in England. Okay. And I started reading the books over Christmas, Wolf and Bring Up the Bodies, and I lost my shit. I was like, on New Year's Eve, I went home to read Wolf super drunk, on champagne. It was like up till 3 a.m. like texting my friends like, I'm so very sorry. So she's now reading Wolf Hall, and I think everyone should read Wolf Hall.
Does your new sound have a name?
Barry.
Barry.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
I like it.
Glenn.
Glenn.
It's a Glenn. Yeah.
How has the new EP been received so far?
Very well. I'm very surprised. Not surprised. I'm always, the bit just before it comes out is the bit where I start trying to ring round magazines and be like, there's a bomb coming and it's in a package that says Emmy The Great promo, so you're going to throw that one away. Because I'm so scared of opinion. I want everyone to like me so badly that I'd rather they didn't know me. But then when it actually happens, you realise that you can pretty much ignore it and filter out anything bad anyway. Okay. You can just tell the people around you, like, just tell me about the good stuff. You just can't gauge it through that. So I think it's going really well, but it could just be that, like, my family and my boyfriend really love me. So that, like, it's going really well.
Have the responses surprised you at all?
I've been surprised that my fans that I know, like you included, would allow me to make such a big change sonically. But every single person who I've met on tour, who I've seen throughout the years, has said that it sounds like a natural progression and that's why they're cool with it. And that's the funny thing is that when we were making it, a couple of people, like, management and the very close people would every now and then be like, I'm worried that this isn't going to work out, you're going to lose all your fans. And I was like, You don't know my fans. Like, I think that if I mean it, they'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
Out of all the letters in the alphabet, why S?
I can't stop. I just cannot stop writing songs that start with S. I noticed that Singapore starts with S the other day, and I was like, sounds like a song. I think it's this addiction thing I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once I get onto one thing, I can't seem to get off it.
What letter will the full album be?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be S. I've been on a bit of a trip where I haven't written any that start with S, but this last couple weeks and I'm still writing. I've just been like, why not? Why not just do another one? Such a good letter. It starts so many good words.
Mm-hmm.
You've been traveling a lot recently. Where have you been?
I've been traveling since probably since my first album came out. I've done a lot of traveling, but it really amped up after Virtue, when I was finishing off the touring for Virtue in Europe and Asia, but also had done that soundtrack, so was zoning into promoting that in the US, and it just ended up traveling a lot to the point where I don't think I've stopped. I lived in I lived in LA, and then I went back to England, and then I came back to New York, and in that time I've been making my album, so every time I settle down at home, and New York is home now, every time I settle down, it's time to go back for some more sessions, and I've become very compact.
What's your favorite size venue to play?
I quite like a big stage in a festival, but then I also like a 300 capacity, because then you can see every single person and it feels really intimate. I used to love doing these tiny intimate shows, 50 people, but recently I got shy for some reason, and while we weren't touring at all, I did a few sort of like a friend's book launch, or a show that someone dropped out and asked could I fill in for them solo, and I just popped down with my guitar, and there'd be like maybe 25 people there or something, and I don't think I've got it in me anymore. You look out and you're like, I'm so exposed. It's quite terrifying. It's like being a stand-up or something. Like they can 25 people could all decide to hate me in one go, whereas in a larger room, there's a variety.
What's your songwriting process?
I had to relearn it, actually. It tends to be idea, like I have to really want to write it. Like the fact that I saw that Singapore begins with S, I would probably be thinking about that for a while, and then something else would come in, like, well, now I see a picture, an image, and now I want to write a song about that, and if I don't nail that feeling, I'll be really angry at myself.
So the idea comes before the music for you?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes I'll write a line, or like a melody will be stuck in my head, and that melody will be so stuck in my head that an idea attaches to it. But if I don't have an idea, I don't have the will.
What is something you wish was different about the music industry?
That's so difficult. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to say really, because it just is what it is. Music shouldn't really be an industry. No, really. If you break it down to what it ultimately is, it's like an act of expression. Everyone does it. So why turn it into a business? But at the same time, when you're in the music industry, you can't, like, it's kind of like anyone in any industry. You come to recognize its faults and the ways that you can navigate it, and you play it like a game kind of thing, and you just can't take it very seriously.
What does music mean to you?
Music. I used to say it was a tool. That if you feel bad, you can switch on a song. I don't know if you recently read The Guardian did Songs That Got Me Through the Year by their writers. It's a really good article at the end of last year. Rebecca Nicholson from The Guardian said this Alicia Keys song, Try Sleeping with a Broken Heart, saved her life kind of thing. Not literally, but from heartbreak. And I have been totally, irreversibly changed by that song. Like pulled out of the deepest depression of my life by that song. And I would be getting into, a spiral of pain or whatever, like getting home feeling really, really bad, and I put on the Alicia Keys song, and my heart would lift, and I think My basic relationship with music is I need it to make me feel something better or happier or prepared for a night out or something like that, you know.
Why do humans feel the need to make music?
I think this is because words are the best things ever. I love them so much, but they're very literal, and there's space between words, there's meanings that you can't apply language to, and you communicate that with music.
In terms of a musical education, who are 3 artists that you think everyone should listen to?
Bowie, Beatles, and I guess the third one's a tough one, isn't it? Laurie Anderson.
What is best in life?
The best things in life? Can I be really Asian?
Yes.
Food. Yeah.
What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, I was served raw horse once in Japan. I was vegan at the time. And I know this because my mum's Chinese. And I know that if you tell a Chinese person that you're vegan, they'll be like, sweet, I'll make you lamb. You know, that's vegan, surely. You couldn't say no to lamb. And I think it was a very similar situation where I went into this restaurant. It was like a banquet situation that the band would just finish this festival and there was a whole thing going on. I told the waiter I was vegan. And obviously he was like, well then I won't cook the horse. So it was like these thin slabs, and I just knew the moment we put it on the table. No one told me. But it was such big slab. It was like ham, but it was more muscly, and I was just like, oh my fuck, it's a horse. I cried. I was just like, I can't look at that. It was so embarrassing as well, because it's such a terrible thing to do when you're being treated to a meal is to burst into tears and be like, no, make it alive again.
What is happiness?
Oh, I think it's a median line. Is that a terrible thing to say? It's just, I think it's like an equilibrium, maybe.
If you could only live in one climate, where would you live?
It would be hot. I can't really take the cold. It's absolutely bone chilling right now.
What bit of fashion do you want to see make a comeback?
That's a good question. Maybe really elaborate hairstyles on everyday people. You know how in the 50s everyone went out and they looked like someone who spent hours on their hair. We just don't do that anymore. There's a lot of like wash and go. You know, I blame the adverts. And it doesn't have to be like a beehive. It could be like a really amazing rainbow-coloured asymmetrical thing. It'd be cool if we all, you know, made an effort.
Who's the most beautiful soul you've ever met?
Oh, that's so sweet. My what I call her my goddaughter, my sister's goddaughter. But I think in a few years, you know, she'll be mine. Her name's Misha. She's like my very favourite.
What was your favorite childhood movie?
The Little Mermaid.
Dark Crystal or The Never-Ending Story?
Definitely Never-Ending Story.
Why?
I never really got into Dark Crystal as much. I guess I just didn't have access. When you're a kid, your favourite movie is very much governed by what video you got for Christmas. So I was really more of a Never-Ending Story person because like, I owned it. I was allowed to watch it. I recently found my tapes. I used to tape Frasier when I was a kid. Which I was like, what was I getting out of Frasier when I was 8 years old?
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars. But I just don't, you know, like, it's becoming so oversaturated. He's definitely not one of these artists who wouldn't say yes to a commercial prospect if it damaged the legacy that he leaves behind. He's obviously not bothered about the whole legacy thing.
What's the most badass thing you've ever done?
Oh, the other day... No, actually, I can't say this. It was very offensive. I said something very offensive to someone very, very quickly in a road rage incident. And me and my brother had to lock ourselves in our Uber because he was pounding on the window, calling me a cunt. But it was so quick. But I can't tell you what I said because it was so awful.
Is that the scariest thing that's ever happened to you?
No, I can't think of the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Well, I did drop my brother on his head when he was a baby. I suppose that was scary, but mainly for him.
What state of mind are you in when you're the most you?
Oh, I think eating. Is that a state of mind? Yeah. My boyfriends and I have no feeling. So I don't know.
What are your current favorite TV shows?
We were discussing this in the car. I have finished a lot of shows. So I might start House of Cards soon. My boyfriend is rewatching Lost.
I just finished Lost.
Again.
Like last week.
He's, the other day I came home, and he was like, he met me at the door, he was so sad, he was like, Jin died today.
He doesn't die. He comes back.
He knows that because he's seen the whole thing.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm letting him be sad. And there was one day where he was in the bedroom just yelling, "Knockout!" every 10 minutes because he has this theory that someone gets knocked out in Lost constantly. So every time someone gets knocked out, he has to yell it now. I think he does it even when I'm not there. But I'm quite shameful. Like, I'm quite into the Mindy project at the moment. I'm quite ashamed of this because it's not as like clever as a lot of the other sort of network comedies that are ruling at the moment. Like, I think New Girl is so much cleverer and has so much better, its intention is so much better, but I'm weirdly addicted to the Mindy project.
What kind of apocalypse do you think is going to happen first?
Climate change and cyber war simultaneously. Resources as a byproduct.
What's your plan?
I have a plan. I am actually, my dad was like, when I die, buy gold. Because then you can chip it off and still trade with people. So I'm going to buy some gold bars and canned food and just figure it out.
Seinfeld or Friends?
I guess Friends, but Seinfeld is obviously amazing. I watch Seinfeld more than I watch Friends, but I did watch Friends more than I watched Seinfeld back then. I could quote, like when we watch Friends, when I watch Friends, anyway, I'm speaking the dialogue as it happens. The day that Friends ended, I remember going to bed really early, really shit. I just don't have that with Seinfeld. I'm coming to Seinfeld as an adult.
For ice cream, do you prefer a cone, bowl, or a shake?
Bowl.
Or for the toppings?
Yeah, I much prefer toppings to really ice cream.
You just basically eat the toppings.
I don't eat dairy anyway, so it would be frozen yogurt, but yeah, I'm more of a like cover it in fruit and granola and stuff. Inhale.
If you could go back in time, just to observe, not to change, when would you go?
Can I only do one thing?
Yes.
And I won't get killed?
No, just to witness.
Wow, that's tough. I think I would just go back and meet my parents. Psych them out.
Sort of like Back to the Future.
I probably won't make out with my mum. I hope.
Never know.
Because the whole of history is so vast. I wouldn't understand what they were saying past about, like 1850.
Yeah.
I would not have a clue. And I'd quite like to hear an English accent, but like in the 1500s. I'd like to check if the medieval times happened. People say they didn't.
Really?
Yeah, some people say they didn't happen. Something went wrong with the calendar. A lot of the Dark Ages just were nothing.
If you were to start a cult, what would it be like?
Like just loving each other. But just like being really nice to each other. But I think the problem with humans is that being forced to be really nice to each other would make us horrible inside. It would be the most passive-aggressive cult I've ever existed.
Who's your favorite internet cat?
I'll tell you my dog, Boo.
What's your favorite internet meme?
Most classic meme is probably the lolcats.
The real reason that you haven't recorded an album in a little while is because you've been playing Skyrim nonstop
That's what
for 3 years.
That's what people are saying to me.
What race do you play?
I'm a dark elf. I like magic. I'm like apprentice level right now, but this is my US save.
Okay.
My UK save, I'm getting like pretty sincerely high up and like leveling up. But I just started again in the US, and I haven't decided if I'm Stormcloak or Imperial yet. I'm focusing on the College of Winterhold, which is something I didn't really do.
What made you come back to music?
I have been, I've been making music this whole time, in between, you know, like when Skyrim's loading, I'll write a lyric.
You posted a video of your worst performance ever. What's the story behind it?
I just thought that I should be a shreds video, because one time, me and my producer were up late night recording, and he was like, what is that sound? And he isolated my guitar track, and it was so funny, we laughed for like 10-15 minutes. It was so bad. I was like, oh my god, I'm a shreds! I'm better than a shreds myself. My natural instincts are worse than a shred. So then it's always been in my head that I have to make my own shred video. So then, when we had some film from Oslo, I wanted to do it, but everyone thinks it's real. Someone said it wasn't bad enough, and I was like, no. So maybe my next one will be more bad.
How different was it making the soundtrack to Austenland versus making your own personal album?
It was, like acting. Because you just have to, like, you follow this brief of, my thing was supposed to illustrate the character's inner world. I tend to think about, like, Jane and what she was like and what she would sing about, rather than, like, you know, stuff that I want to sing about.
Were the songs less personal for you?
They are less personal. They're more a fun experience for me. But there's one song, Comic Books, that is just naturally quite a sad song.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was performing it, I got something out of it.
How many instruments do you play?
0.
Really?
Pretty much.
You can't play the guitar?
I can shred anything. So.
What's your favorite instrument?
Probably my guitar that I have now on stage. I bring it with me everywhere. It doesn't have like a hard or protective case because I just carry it with me.
You're good at so many things. What are 2 things that you're not good at?
The things that you think I'm good at. Definitely those things. I'm not good at loads of stuff. My boyfriend wouldn't let me bring his camera out to Philadelphia because he said it would be broken when it got back. And I was like, no, I would never. And then we were just driving, like, we were halfway here, and I just realized that at this point I would have lost it already or dropped it. I'm just horrible with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's because, you know, I'm on a higher plane from stuff. I don't have to look after it. But yeah, no, the other day I broke. My hands are really big, so when I hold something, kind of like a Lenny situation. The other day I broke the antenna of our monitors, so now it's right, you'll see it, it's right by my foot, and it's all like wrapped up with tape because it can't be too far away from where I am. So bad.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. This has been Tom Galindo, here with Emmy the Great, for the blog You've Probably Never Heard of Them.